Today I'm going to show you how to do the bow handle installation into the Mirage Eclipse. It's a freehand installation, so there's no jig required. Here are some of the required materials. Denatured alcohol for cleanup after the job. We have the bow handle itself with screws, masking tape, gloves, DevCom 5-minute epoxy gel, measuring tape, inserts, stir stick, pencil, and a rag for easy cleanup. I'm going to put some masking tape over the board just to keep it nice and clean in my installation so it overlap itself. Just like that. Give yourself a lot of room. Then I'm going to grab my measuring tape and I'm going to measure 7 inches off the bow. So there's the end of the bow. I'm going to make a mark on top of the board at the crest at 7 inches. That's where the first insert's going to go. It's going to go right here. What we're going to do is mark its spot. Make sure it's on the top of the board at the apex. Draw a quick sort of line around it. That's going to be our guidelines for where we're going to open this board up to. So just draw it quick and easy. Then we're going to measure an additional 6.5 inches back. So you see my ruler right from the back edge to 6.5, which is right there. Put a mark. Once again, I'm going to draw my insert like that, nice and easy. Now is we're going to open up the cavities the size of the insert. So just kind of a trick that I did, just a rule of thumb, is I put the Dremel, the depth of the Dremel, the tip of the Dremel to the depth of the insert. So it just gives me a guide on how deep I need to go. So it's not going to stop it from going too deep, but it's just going to give me a visual on where to stop. I'm going really slow. I have my part right here, which I just keep checking for size, so I'm good at my size. Now I'm going to just go for my depth. And when I'm going for the depth, I want to make sure that I stay within the column and I don't go real wide outside. And the reason we don't want to have a big cavity beyond this is the epoxy can get hot and exotherm if we leave too much space for it to do that. So we want the fit fairly tight once we're done. So now I'm going for the depth. And I'm kind of looking at my Dremel, the top of it, and I know I'm going to go about to where it stops. Right about there is about my depth. So I'm going to stop, blow it out, and check for depth. We want that thing to be nice. When it goes down in there, we want it to be nice and flush with the top. Okay, I got a little bit more because this top edge is just a hair wider, so I'm going to go ahead and just give myself a little more on that upper area. Let's check it. Almost. One of the things in doing this freehand installation which helps a lot is you can be in a seated position as best, or standing comfortably where you're working right on the part, but then also use your arms and your other hand to brace off of the board while you're doing it. This adds, so you're not just trying to do it in the air, so use the board as a brace to help you so you twist. One of the key things to making the inserts really strong is we like to go in with like a drill bit and push holes right up against underneath the skin. I put 4 of them up right like that. You can see that. What that does, it creates a foundation for the epoxy, and I'm going to squish the epoxy actually into those holes so it kind of flares it out and really makes it strong. I do this before I'm going to mix my epoxy. Here's my DevCom 5-minute epoxy gel. I recommend the gel because it's thick enough to where it doesn't absorb into the EPS foam. And that's key. I've used other glues that were thinner and they did not work. So I highly recommend this is the glue to use. And I go ahead and mix an ample amount because I want it, when I install this, I want it to ooze out of the gaps here and right around the sides of the insert. So a couple things we do is get a really good mix. You mix it until it goes, all that blue is gone to clear. So you just keep mixing until you don't see any more blue. Scraping it really nice. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get my insert, I'm going to butter up my insert, get it nice and glue around a bunch of that. And then I grab my glue, get real close to my hole, and I push it way down inside. So I'm pushing it, see how I'm pushing it into all those cracks that I made. Going like that and pushing it in up in there. If you do that, it's filling the foundation, I call it. And then I want to make sure that I have plenty of glue in there, because when I put this in here, I want the glue to actually ooze out around so I can be positive that it's all filled. So I'm going to push this in there and see how it's oozing out. That's what I want to see, is that big ooze. And we can take that and put it back onto our thing, clean it up a little bit. And we're going to sit here and watch this thing until 5 minutes, until it's all gone off. Clean it up a little bit with my hands and go for the next insert. Butter it up. Make sure you get all in these little cracks on that thing, so that's making it holding power. I'm going to move up over here, start putting it back in the cavity, pushing it into those holes. I use that whole entire tube because I want that thing to ooze out. So I make sure all of it's nice and cracked. And don't worry, I'm getting a little bit of glue on the board, but before I'm done, I'm going to clean it all up. I have 5 minutes to work with it, so we're still in good shape here, working time. Pushing it into those holes. Now I'm going to push it in. I want to see it ooze again. There it goes, the big ooze. Clean it up. I'm going to my last step of the installation, which is the final cleanup. I'm going to sit here for 5 minutes until the glue's completely gone off, and I'm going to use the cleanup with denatured alcohol. This is what I recommend you use. Do not use acetone. Acetone will melt the foam if it became in contact, but just use denatured alcohol. And it's really simple and easy. A little bit on your rag. Just do a nice little cleanup around there. Just taking up all epoxy. So you're not going to see any of this. A couple of nice wipes on it. Make sure I'm pushed down all the way. Looks good. See, I'm looking at all these gaps and making sure they're all filled with epoxy. Nice last little cleanup, and then just wait till it's all done. Cured, and I'm gonna sit there and put my handle in place here. And just get the good start on the. Whoops, wrong way. Get a good start on each side. Pretty easy. Done. There you go. Installation complete.